Welcome back to Smoky Ribs. I'm Russ Jones. In today's video, I'm using the Camp Chef Woodwind pellet smoker. We're going to be doing beef ribs. We're going to be doing beef plate ribs, plate short ribs, and we're also doing beef back ribs, doing more of a comparison to show which ones are more meatier, how you get more bang for your buck, and so on. We're going to get started with that right after this.
If you wanna cook backyard barbecue till you get your feel, you come to the right place. Russ Jones, Smoky Ribs. Smoky Ribs. Smoky
Before I get started with this video, I want to do a major shout out for this channel that I just recently discovered. He has been making videos since March of 2017, and his channel name is Cooking with Rye, R-Y, Cooking with Rye. His name is actually Ron Douglas Pearson, and I didn't know this till just a few weeks ago. This is what really intrigued me to have him in our barbecue cooking community. He was doing a live feed on YouTube, and to find out, this guy is an American novelist and screenwriter, and he's done some amazing work. If any of you are familiar with the movie Knowing, he actually wrote that, he co-produced that. He showed up in the credits that I counted 3 different times, and then he's also done or wrote the movie Mercury Rising with Bruce Willis. And that's pretty amazing to have him in our community, in our group. And I tell you, the man is very knowledgeable, and he's been doing this, according to what he's said on his videos, roughly 10 years, has a great love for it, just like I do, and so many of y'all that tune in to our programs. And I'm telling you, he makes some really good videos, high quality, and the man knows what he's doing. So I hope you look in the description box, find a link to his channel, go over there and subscribe and start following him. I'm telling you, this guy is doing some really good work. He's very knowledgeable, and he's a professional. You know, right out of the box, I'm like, man, he's got some really good quality on his videos, and he puts them together and sews it all together in a real good way. And I didn't know at that time that he has actually had experience, not so much him in the movie industry, but he's been around it, like through co-producing and such as that. So I'm sure that plays a big part in him producing and putting out some very good content. Anyway, check Rye out. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. I want to show you real quick 2 different types of beef ribs. Right here, these are referred to as beef plate ribs. These are actually underneath on a cow of these. These are back ribs. Like that. That's how they would be. Now these are always much more meatier, as you can see. Now this is prime Angus right here. That's why you got all this great marbling. Now from these short ribs, if you were to cut them this way, that would be referred to as flanking style ribs. But we're doing them just like this. This is a 3-bone short plate, 1, 2, 3, and they actually refer to this in the butcher industry as 1, 2, 3A ribs. These came from Matador Prime Steak Company, and that's really good ribs. Now these, on the other hand, came from a local supermarket. These are the back ribs, and as you can see, they're totally gouged out. Bones are shining, and the reason being, this is the portion of the rib that they actually butcher out and cut out the ribeye steak, the prize ribeye. So they're not going to leave much meat on the back ribs. Most of the meat is actually in between the bones, as you can see here. That is your meat. There's no meat on the bones like you have here. Now on these, you also have meat between the bones and of course on top of the bones. So I wanted to show that. Getting ready to season these with actually 3 different seasonings. I've already got the Camp Chef Woodwind fired up. We're running roughly 225 to 235 on the high smoke setting. Now once I let these smoke for a couple hours, maybe 3 hours, then I'm going to kick it up to around 275, well, between 250 and 275, not over 275, to finish these ribs off. But right now I'm going to go ahead and apply 3 different rubs on 3 different pieces of ribs here. This is Swine Life Mississippi Grind. Really loving this rub. Here's another really good rub I'll be using on a rack. The Rub by GQ Barbecue. And of course, one of my favorites, this is Heaven Made Products. This is his Texas Best Brisket Rub. I'm not going to bore you. You've seen people apply rubs. I'm not using a binder of any kind. I'm just going to let these sit here long enough to where they kind of set up. All right, we'll be back. Got all the beef ribs seasoned up, getting ready to go into the smoker. And we do have smoke. And in case you're wondering, I am using hickory pellets. Now I'm gonna put these back ribs on the lower rack to begin with, but I believe at some point I'm probably gonna have to raise them to the top because these are not gonna take as long to cook because they're a lot thinner. But whenever they do get ready, I'll just simply wrap those in foil, put them in a cooler, just let them hang out until the other ribs catch up to them.
Cheers, folks.
Yeah.
Very good. Has kind of a coffee thing going on there. Good beer. Anyway, thanks again for stopping by. Keep those requests coming in. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers again. Darn, I have to drink this beer again. Cheers.
I've been going roughly an hour and a half, and I've got a Spritz here. Now this is the same Spritz that I use on pork. This goes well on pork, it goes well on beef, and all it is 1/3 bourbon. This happens to be a pecan and peach flavored bourbon, along with 2/3 of apple juice. Just straight up apple juice. It really makes a difference on ribs. So the alcohol burns off. You don't have to worry about consuming alcohol. Anyway, you can see how they dried out a little bit on top. A lot of that has to do with the rub. Now I want to take and turn these around where I can get a Spritz on the back side of them. All right, so I'm going to take and utilize this top rack now with these thinner ribs. And I might not have mentioned it earlier, but you always want to go bones down on ribs. The bones not only helps protect the meat, creating a heat barrier, but the bones get hot and they actually help cook the ribs. Putting them up high like this will actually help slow down the cooking of them to where these can get done more in line with each other, but I'm sure these are still going to beat these, but that's going to help out. Now I'm going to continue to spritz probably once every hour, hour and a half, or as needed. I just did a temperature check on the back ribs, and we are ready to come off and put them on some foil and give them a wrap and let them finish off on that. Got good color. We're a little over 160 degrees internal. So I've got 2 of these. I'm going to wrap them independently. We're going to give them another spritz. Now this is going to allow these beef ribs to more or less just steam in this foil and continue on to get tender. They've already received all the smoke they need. They got a nice color. And they'll just finish off just like this, meat up. All right, now I'm going to take and double wrap these. I'm going to get these back on. I'm going to wrap the other rack of back ribs, and we'll be back. Woohoo! Boy, we got some pretty color on that. I've got different temperatures throughout this, 165 to 175. We're going to take it and wrap this up as well. Got a really nice color on this. I had thought about just letting this run all the way through, develop a really dark bark, but it's getting late in the afternoon and I just want to hurry up and get this cook over with. I've been running roughly 5 hours on this already, so we're doing a wrap. Once again, we're going to double wrap. Now I have already taken the other 2 racks probably an hour ago, removed them, put them into a cooler, an ice chest, and they're just sitting there hanging out. They will still be hot when this one's ready. And we're gonna let this one rest as well. All right, let's put it back on the smoker. Close the lid. We'll check it here in about an hour. All right, my other ribs, the back ribs, are still resting in the cooler over here, wrapped up in foil. Let's take a look at these. These are the plate ribs. I foiled them. I've had them on roughly 45 minutes. I cranked the Camp Chef Woodwind up to 275. So let's see what we're looking like on temperature. Look at all that meat. I think this is a no contest here. I think we already know who's gonna win this. Now I don't know if you can see this thermometer or not. 195. Well, that's 200. Look at it, it's probing. I mean, it's ready. It's basically ready right now. That is going through like butter. No resistance. All right, now what I'm going to do is go ahead and take it out of the foil, put it back on here. I'm going to keep it at 275, and I'm going to just leave this for like 30 minutes just to create just a little bit of a bark, dry that top out a little bit, because it's super moist, super moist. And I'm sure you've seen the fat cap that was on that. So what I'm going to do before that, I'm going to take this spritz of the bourbon and apple juice, and we're going to apply a little bit more of the Mississippi Grind by Swine Life. Not much. That should do it. All right, let me open the pit up. Bones are still all intact. Going on to the pit. Like I said, about 30, 40 minutes maybe. If even that, I'll keep an eye on it. It's ready now. It's completely done. When that comes off, I'm gonna re-wrap that into here. We're gonna let it rest in the cooler along with these other ones. And we'll be eating here probably 30 minutes after I do that. We'll be back. I've been going about another 30 minutes unwrapped. Time to take it out. Woohoo! Look at that. And who says a pellet grill don't smoke? My Lord, this reminds me of the offset getting in my eyes and everything. All right, so all I'm gonna do is wrap this. We're gonna put this over in the cooler with the other ribs. Let this hang out maybe 30 minutes, not too long, because I'm ready to eat, y'all. We'll be back. All right, so I've rested long enough. I'm gonna start by cutting into these beef back ribs, and we're gonna see what we got and do a little taste test. Well, one thing about beef ribs is you're gonna get a lot of shrinkage. So if you're planning like a party, if you're wanting to serve beef ribs, you better buy a lot of them, because they shrink up quite a bit. That's any of them. I don't care if it's the beef backs or the plate ribs. There's a lot of shrinkage. In a case of a party, I would suggest brisket. It goes a long way. So let's cut into this first bone here, and that is cutting super easy, other than the fact I'm into a little bit of the bone. There we go. Look how juicy that is. All right, now this is the beef back. A lot of good beefy flavor, very tender, very flavorful. Now I did 2 different racks with the beef ribs with 2 different rubs. I'm not sure which is which. I did not keep up with that, but it's excellent either way. And now we're going to try the plate ribs. All right, now there's only 3 bones, so I'm going to cut right between this first and second bone. This is crazy. Look at the meat on that. Oh my goodness, look at that. We do have a smoke ring of sorts, but look at all that meat. Oh my God. Now, yeah, it's only 3 bones, but I'm here to tell you, each one of these bones is probably equivalent to a small ribeye steak. This is crazy. All right, I tell you what, I'm not going to actually bite into this because I'm sharing this with the family. I'm actually just going to cut a piece off Look how tender that is. Right there. There's no comparison between that and what I just had with the beef back rib. I mean, none whatsoever. That is fantastic. Family or no family, I'm going back in for another taste. That is cooked to perfection. It was almost to the point of falling off the bone, but not quite. I mean, look at that. It's just... Please look in the description box and go check out my buddy Rye over there at Cooking with Rye, and tell him Smoky Ribs sent you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, Smoky Ribs.